It is Friday, January 10th, and welcome back to Damon Bruce Plus. It's great to have you here. As always, like and subscribe. As always, we are brought to you by Ike's Sandwiches. My man right here, let me get him in the frame a little bit better. There he is. Get that handsome face serving handsome sandwiches. My man Ike has got something ready for you. As always, we got a big night of bowl games going underway. Well, a bowl game that will set up a national championship game. We got Ohio State and Texas tonight. That's a good one. It is Super Wildcard Weekend, although I think we've dropped the Super. We don't even say that anymore. Make sure that you're betting over on BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 when you go ahead and sign up for 150% sign-up deposit and bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. And of course, our good friends at the Dubliner got the best Guinness waiting for you in all of San Francisco. Dubliner, West Portal, my kind of bar. Go there, watch sports, talk to people, get to know your neighbor, have a good beer. It's perfect. Love you guys at the Dubliner. Thanks for sponsoring the show as always. And, when it comes to this 49ers offseason, it's a massive one. This is the fork in the road of, does the Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch regime really stay in power for the foreseeable future? Or will they fail against a last place schedule, which would just ratchet up the heat on them in ways that I don't think they've even experienced? A man who covers this team, I think, is as good as anybody. Kyle Posey is a producer, a content creator, a reporter, a writer for Niners Nation. He does a hell of a job. Like I was telling you, Kyle, before we even started here today, half the time I'm reading something about the 49ers, and I'll go back and look at who wrote it. You're the guy who wrote it half the time. I really enjoy your work. We have never done a show together before, so thank you so much for joining me here today. It's a pleasure. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate the kind words. Yeah, it's the 49ers, they certainly make it interesting, that's for sure.
They sure do. There's never a dull moment. And I'll tell you, the never a dull moment was the first thing that I think went wrong with 2024. What was promised to be the smoothest, easiest to navigate offseason ever was anything but. And if you ask me, like, what's the best way to assure that 2025 is better than 2024? Get your offseason shit together. You got players that you want to sign them, get them into camp. Don't have anybody missing. Veteran, rookie camp. Get your deals done. Get everyone in, accounted for early in the year. And I think that will help squash the bad vibes that started this year and never really left the year.
Yeah, you have to go through the offseason as a team, and that's not something that they did last year, right? It felt like for 4 months, for 5 months, for 6 months, we were talking about, hey, like, when's Brandon Ayuk going to show up? Hey, when's Trent Williams going to show up? Even at training camp, like, what's going on? Like, is this ever going to be a thing? And they never really got it corrected. And by the time they did, somebody else was hurt or somebody else went out. So it was kind of in and out of the lineup for a lot of people. And they never really felt like the 49ers. And by the time they did, it was too late.
It really was, and it felt like there was the promise of, all right, they're going to get their shit together, and it'll happen after the bye week, or it'll happen after McCaffrey enters the room. It'll happen after Deebo finally gets his sea legs underneath him, and it never happened. It never came together, and I think one of the reasons why all football teams come apart, they usually start showing their weaknesses across the line of scrimmage, and that defined the entire year, offensively and defensively. An article that you just put out on Niners Nation, I think it was yesterday that I read it, Kyle, was about how Dominic Purdy is pretty much the direction that the 49ers need to be taking this next NFL draft again. They did well by themselves with Dominic Purdy, and they need to have further draft investment here across this offensive line. And look, I agree with that. If you can't go out and get Ronnie Staley, a high-priced tackle from Baltimore in free agency, or a guy like Drew Dahlman, center for the Atlanta Falcons, I think that they got to look offensive line early in this draft.
Yeah, they definitely have to address it early in the draft. I thought the 2024 approach was smart in the sense that, hey, let's go get guys who are ready to play right now, who are experienced too, not redshirt sophomores, redshirt juniors, get fifth-year seniors, and that's exactly what Purdy was. That's exactly what Renardo Green was. That's what Malcolm was like. All these guys, if you go down the line, they had like 40-plus starts in their career. So if you're going to really lean on, hey, we're still in our Super Bowl window, go and get these fifth-year seniors, and that's what Puni was. Puni was great. He was confident. He was consistent. He hit a rookie wall at the end there, but that's to be expected. I wouldn't blame him for that at all. So, and another thing that worked out well for Puni, he was the right guard. Essentially the second they started training camp, like Spencer Burford got hurt, slid in Puni, and like he never looked back from there. So him getting all that experience from August through the season is going to go a long way. He's such a good player, and I don't want to say they lucked up on him, but to fall into a player like that early in the third round of the draft is going to go a long way for them. So they definitely have their right guard shored up. Now, right, we're talking about right tackle, center, like the other positions you named, probably left guard because Aaron Banks is an undrafted free agent. So they definitely have their hands full as far as finding out who to replace who with. But, I mean, there's nothing really bad to say about Puni.
I mean, when the 49ers lean into inexperienced, they usually find out like, oh, we don't like what we're seeing here. You know, I've whether it's true or not, I don't know. I think there's plenty of evidence to back it up, certainly offensively. Kyle doesn't like rookies. Not you, Kyle Posey. Kyle Shanahan doesn't like rookies. He doesn't trust rookie wide receivers. He obviously is slow to develop running backs, even though he drafts them high. He has a lack of confidence in young players, which to me makes the Nick Sorensen decision from a year ago like all that more curious. I understand that they were very comfortable with him, and even though he's being, let go, he has not been quite fired. They might have him take over special teams. They clearly like him. But I think, Shanahan went with something he was comfortable with more than he went with something he thought was the best idea. And maybe adding Brandon Staley was an admission that I don't think I got enough experience in the room. What do you think of the decision to let Sorensen go? And do you really think that Saleh will rejoin the operation?
So I wonder how much of the Sorensen hire had to do with where they were at in the season, right? So after the Super Bowl, plenty of coaches had been hired. Like, it was slim pickings by that point. They brought in a guy who was already a voice in the room. He had already been running the ball meetings. But again, he was a special teams coordinator. He was an assistant defensive backs coordinator. He had never really drawn up. And Shanahan actually spoke about that the other day where, like, this experience is necessary. I want a guy who has experience building a defense. I would imagine they made the right move to let him go, right? And I'm not going to say his voice wasn't getting through, but you can hear, like, Nick Bosa never says, I thought we would finish the season stronger. Like, that was an admission in itself that we probably don't have the right guy here. I think it's time for them to zag, right? I think it's time for them to go in another direction. Shanahan needs to get uncomfortable with the type of decisions that he's making. Saleh would be as comfortable as a choice as possible, right? Like, he was here, built this defense from the ground up, and was here for a long time, and they were very successful. The problem with that is, like, would Saleh want this job? I think that's a question that we need to ask. Like, would he want to come back and do something that he's already done and did it very well for a long time? That would kind of feel like a step in the wrong direction for me. If I'm Shanahan, I'm going in the opposite direction. I want to bring in a guy who loves to run man coverage, who loves to blitz, who loves to do all these things that we haven't really done for the past 4 or 5 years. And if you look around the NFL, that's what's working, right? Like the Lions, even though their numbers don't look great, they have a ton of injuries, but they are going balls to the wall as far as running man coverage and being aggressive. And if you're going to go down swinging and do the things that other teams are. Brian Flores, for example, like, he's going to force you into a mistake. And just watching the 49ers defense this past year, they were way too confident sitting back, playing coverage, sitting on their hands, and, playing this bend but don't break style of defense. And that's just not where football is trending in the right direction.
Right. You got to be aggressive.
Yeah. You have to be the aggressor, and you have to be the one in control. And the style of defense that the 49ers are running is not that essentially.
All right. So you're one of the few guys out there who doesn't sound like you think Robert Saleh coming back is the answer to the questions that the 49ers have. I like Gus Bradley. I think that he would be a very good candidate. Somebody has said, though, that there's static between him and Shanahan. I don't know about that. Maybe you do. Maybe you've heard of that. What do you think of Gus Bradley as a candidate for defensive coordinator? And if Bradley isn't your guy, who is?
So if we're trying to do the whole zigzag thing, the Colts blitzed 19% of the time, which was the third fewest, and the 49ers were 17%, which is the second fewest. So he has that same mentality where I'm going to sit back, I'm going to play zone, and I'm probably not going to blitz very often. So Gus has been around forever. Like, he has the experience that you like. but I wouldn't go in that direction. I actually don't mind going in the college rankings, right? And that's easier said than done when I'm not the one making these investments, but I would like to go and pick somebody's brain. And that's what all these interviews are for, really, right? Like when you're interviewing Deshae Townsend, who has no experience as a coordinator, but he played for Dick LeBeau, right? So he's running all these exotic blitzes, and he has experience in the NFL. So he's seen a bunch of different things. I think these interviews, you're pulling information and saying, how can I fix my scheme without maybe having to bring this player or this coordinator in? I would still lean in the direction of college. But if that's not true, if you're not going to go in that route, I would probably go and get the best of, like we just mentioned, the Lions guy, or get somebody who runs this aggressive scheme, who plays a lot of man coverage. So I'd get a position coach from one of those teams is where I'd go.
Kyle Posey from Niners Nation, nice enough to join us here on Damon Bruce Plus today. You know, I just did a show with Larry Krueger. We do Wake Up 3 days a week, and we were talking about, you know, what's the first step the 49ers need to take into this offseason? And I said, I think they've already taken it. And it's admitting that you're not as good as you used to be. And they admit that in the dismissal of Sorensen and moving on from a special teams coordinator who was begging to be fired all regular season, but for whatever reason was not. And I actually think that the promotion of Clay Kubiak, even if it is more ceremonial than factual to offensive coordinator, is just another admission that you guys are collecting the information that the league is giving back to you. You know, they're on to you, Kyle. You got to start bucking some trends. You know, the play that you're setting up a big play with later in the game ain't setting up shit anymore. And we can see that, and the results are there. And maybe Kubiak, just with a pair of fresh eyes, a new way to sequence some plays together, will make this offense pop a little bit more. Again, fix your offensive line. That'll go a long way to help that too. But I like that the moves that they've already made and seem to be an admission that, you know, that Shanahan and company aren't as ego-driven as you think. When they identify a problem, they'll handle it. And there's a lot of people who didn't think that they were going to do that. I'm glad that they have.
I think that's a great point. I think one of the easiest things for these franchises and these organizations to do, when they make a mistake, they hold on for a player too long. They hold on for a coach too long. 3-4 years down the line, you're wondering, like, where was this move at 2 years ago? So letting go of Sorensen is a great example. And again, he's probably going to be around in some capacity, whether it's special teams coordinator or still working with the defense, as you said. I thought bringing Kubiak on as an offensive coordinator tells me that Kyle needs to know, or Kyle wants to take some off his plate and give more to Kubiak. To me, that means Kyle might focus more, or Kubiak, one of these guys needs to focus on the red zone, because the 49ers between the 20s were still as good as it gets. But for whatever reason, once they hit that 20-yard line, once they got into the red zone, they looked like a shell of themselves. So regression is going to go a long way for them in 2025. It's going to be tough for them to be any worse in the red zone. But I think, as you said, bringing on those fresh eyes, bringing on just another mind, right? Another voice. Say, hey, why don't we do this instead? Why don't we go in this direction? Somebody to counter what Shanahan's saying, and somebody who Shanahan's comfortable listening to will go a long way. But as far as like the direction of the offseason, John Lynch said he expects to have 10 draft picks. I don't know if any of those should go outside of offensive or defensive line. I would look around, right? The Eagles, the Lions, those are the best teams in the NFC. They have the best defensive line, the best offensive line in the NFC. So look around, look at what other teams are doing, and it's pretty obvious that you have skill players all over. So why not invest in your quarterback, right? Why not invest in them, allow them to run these longer developing routes? If you want to be more aggressive on defense, get more defensive linemen. So it seems like a pretty simple fix, but it'll be interesting to see what direction they go.
I had an old high school football coach who every day would just say, this entire sport is about blocking and tackling. All this other bullshit just sells tickets. Yeah. Blocking and tackling. That's it. That's the whole sport. It's the entire game is played. Everybody's got a talented wide receiver and running back and quarterback. They all got them. Blocking and tackling, that's what you need. And I believe it. I really do. The further I get away from high school, the more I even believe that to be true. What do you think the future holds for Deebo Samuel?
Yeah, I mean, John Lynch said he expects him back. It wasn't the most confident answer, right? He was like a one-liner. Yeah, he's under contract. I would move on, But at the same time, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. He was an excellent kick returner. Like he received a couple of votes from the All-Pro, and he did a great job of actually flipping the field and giving them some advantageous field position.
That's what he did the best all year.
Yes.
He was best in special teams than he was on offense.
But the problem is a $15 million cap hit good enough for a kick returner who's probably going to be behind Brandon Ayuk when he returns, Juwan Jennings after this year, Ricky Pearsall after his emergence? Like, so we're talking about wide receiver 4? I don't think so. I would have sold high. I know it's easy to say in hindsight. I would have sold high after his all-pro season. Remember 2021 or whatever year it was, the Jets are offering you a number 10 overall pick or a top 10 pick? Like, what better value would you have ever gotten then? It's pretty evident that Deebo struggles against man coverage. He's just not going to be a focal point of your offense. So I would move on just because I know that I could probably upgrade from that. I could get what Deebo Samuel is giving me at $7 million and not $15 million. I would use that $7 million to go get another defensive tackle, to go get a left guard. So there are definitely ways that the 49ers can manipulate the salary cap and move off from Deebo. But again, he's beloved in the locker room. He's a team captain. Ricky Pearsall said he helped him a lot as a rookie. So those are the parts where, like, from the outside looking in, would be tough to make those kind of decisions.
In terms of tough decisions on the other side of the ball, do you think Dre Greenlaw or Talanoa Hufanga are able to survive their tough decision, both back, both gone, or one coming back, the other gone? Which do you think it is?
I would move on from Hufanga just because he has a lot of reckless tendencies. There's little evidence to show that he was going to stay healthy from the time you drafted him, and that hasn't been true since. He stayed healthy one season out of the 4. Like I said, like he's pretty much a one-dimensional player where he's good coming forward, but you can't really trust him in coverage. It would be tough for me to walk away from Greenlaw, but then you look at the rap sheet of all of the injuries he's had from the time he was drafted up until this past season. Like, why would that get better, right? The more banged up they get, the more games that they go through, it's probably only going to get worse. But I would vote Dre Greenlaw as a team captain. He looks like the best player on the field whenever he's on the field. The problem is, like, when is he going to be on the field? Can you guarantee me that he's going to be on the field 13, 14, 15 games? I don't know. And the way D. Winters played, it would be easy to let him walk. I would kind of let the market dictate what Greenlaw pays. And if he doesn't get what he wants, like, hey, here's a contract, here's what we're willing to offer you. So I would be more willing to bring Greenlaw back. But I think the time is up with Hufanga. I don't see what he's done or what enough of a reason to bring him back on whatever $10, $12 million that you would have to pay him.
You got a lovely sun-soaked porch behind you. I believe we're talking to you from the great state of Arizona. Is that true?
Yes, sir. I'm in Phoenix.
So you're in Phoenix, and you got to bet the mortgage payment on one of these two rookies being a high-value rookie for the 49ers 2 years from now. So I'm not even saying that the sophomore season's got to be a monster, but 2 years from now, this guy means a lot to the 49ers. Ricky Pearsall or Isaac Guerendo?
I would honestly think about drafting a running back again this year, and I don't think Guerendo is going to be sustainable. Injuries, like he had an injury history in college. He transferred in college for a reason because he wasn't able to start. And this past season, he was banged up on the first day of training camp. So if you're going to give a guy a heavier workload, right, like he's proven that, I'm not so sure that he can be the bell cow. But as far as Pearsall goes, once they started using him on, more of a route tree, like they started using him in Detroit on these outbreaking routes for the first time all season. And voila, what do you know? He's able to, put together a bunch of big plays. He had 141 yards in that game. The next game, I know these games are quote unquote, meaningless, but to see him win in structure with the routes that you love to run, it would be tough to bet against Ricky Pearsall. So some thought that because of his age, he wouldn't be this high ceiling draft pick, but you don't really need that. I think he can do everything that Deebo can and then some. I think he has the speed to keep up with and the speed to actually keep defenses honest. Another offseason with him working with Purdy is going to get them on the same page. I would not be surprised if Pearsall is closer to a 1,000-yard receiver, 1,200-yard receiver by year 3. And like that would be an easy one for me. I'd put the mortgage on Pearsall and not think twice about it.
What do you think of Christian McCaffrey's future on this team? Do you have him in the damaged goods category where you might even look to trade him before the draft this year?
That is a tough question because we are coming off of 2023 where the 49ers looked like a video game, basically. And a large part of that was because the offensive player of the year, right? They took a step back in the red zone this year. Why? Because they didn't have a running back to throw the ball to, because they could not run the ball in the red zone. You talked about blocking and tackling. Football is still about running the football and stopping the run. 49ers could do neither of those this past season, and it showed up, and that's why they only won 6 games. So we know who McCaffrey is, right? We know what he's capable of, but he's trending up. He's getting close to 30. And again, like, who is to say that he is going to be the same explosive athlete that he was post-injury and post-multiple injuries? And why are we led to believe that these injuries are going to stop anytime soon? That is a tough one. The only way that I would move off or get rid of him is if I had some rock solid plan. And that would have to be, you talk about investing in running backs early. You would probably have to take a running back early if you're going to move on from him. And I don't think Rindo's the guy. So, oh man, that is tough. You're going to have to bring Jordan Mason. You're going to have to supplement McCaffrey with multiple running backs if you do intend to keep him around. But at the same time, if you move on from him, he goes and signs with the Rams and he stays healthy with the Rams and rushes for 2,000 yards because that's how football works. So that is a tough one. That's kind of a coin flip. I would lean the safer route and bring him back and also draft another running back.
All right. It's the single most, third rail topic around the 49ers. Kyle Posey, what are you paying Brock Purdy?
I'm going to pay him a contract where I can get out of it after 2 years, right? It's going to be front loaded. It's going to, hey, you did these past 2 years. Great job. We believe in you, but I'm going to trust you to do it 2 more years, and I'm going to need you to prove that. So it'll be front loaded for a couple of years. It'll probably be a 4-year with the ghost years like they love to do, but I'm going to give myself an option.
Ghost years is a great way to describe them.
Yeah, like I'm basically going to cheat the system, and I'm going to tell you that you did a great job, but I also want to see more. I also want to see what it looks like, because we saw this past year what it looks like when things aren't perfect around him, right? I don't need you to sell these throws. I don't need these fourth quarter interceptions. I can't run away from the fact that is true, but I also know that he's a quarterback that has the mobility to get me out of bad situations, that pushes the ball down the field, that makes the defense defend every throw, and that's why my offense was able to move the ball at a high level between the 20s. So I do think Brock Purdy is a upper echelon quarterback, but when we get to like 60, 65, 70, now we're talking Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, like the
right.
cream of the crop, and I think it's pretty evident that he's not that.
By the way, speaking of cream of the crop, we got a $20 super chat here. Damon plus Kyle equals fire emojis. I'm not young, but I know that that's good news. I'm glad that they feel that way. Thank you very much, Jesse. And I got to tell you, the biggest mistake of my 2024 NFL season was waiting to 2025 to invite you on as a guest. This was awesome. You're fantastic at what you do. I've been reading you for years. I'm going to finally reach out to the guy and see if he's got a little time now that the season is over. I'm really glad that you had it. Tell us what you're cooking over at Niners Nation. Where can people find you, subscribe to you, watch you, consume you? Tell me what your off-season plans are and where people can go to find your work.
So I'm thinking about going to the East-West Shrine Bowl in a couple of weeks. So I like to get into the nitty-gritty and think about these draft prospects. A couple of years ago, I did a mock where I took Jordan Elliott. I had Matt Hennessy. So it's kind of funny to see these things kind of come full circle. But I like watching draft prospects. So I'm going to go on YouTube, Kyle Posey, and I'm going to do film breakdowns of the draft prospects. I'm going to get into free agency and just kind of see, like who fits the 49ers. Like if they hire a specific defensive coordinator, it'll probably tell us, well, they might need this position. They might need that position. So I'm going to try to dig into that and see what I can come up with there.
Kyle, great stuff. By the way, nobody can believe that you and Buster Posey are brothers. You don't look anything alike.
Every time I go to the Bay Area, hey, are you related to Buster? Yes, obviously. Clearly. Can't you see it?
Thank you so much for joining us, man. Keep warm, but not too warm out there in Phoenix. Let's see. You got an NFL game that got plopped in your backyard because of all the destruction in Los Angeles. Just in terms of Wild Card Weekend, you got any projections, a pick to click? I think the Vikings are thrilled that this game's being played in a neutral. You win 14 games. You don't want to be a road team to open your playoff run. I think the Vikings are happy to be playing in Arizona.
I like the Rams quite a bit. I actually will go on, and here's my hot take. I think the Rams represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I think they beat the Vikings. I think they beat the Lions, and I think they squeak by the Eagles.
I'm going to tell you, there's nobody putting the Rams in the Super Bowl but you. I love it. I like it. Thank you so much, man. Great talking to you. And let's do this again sometime soon. Agreed?
Of course. Anytime. Let me know.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Kyle Posey, Niners Nation, nice enough to join us here on Damon Bruce Plus, and we will be certainly going back to that mine for more information for sure. I thought that was awesome. That was fantastic. Yeah, there is a hot take. That is absolutely, if you like a hot take, Nathaniel Richard, Rams in the NFC title game. That is a prediction from Kyle. I look at it this way: if you're going to go out on the diving board, go all the way out to the edge of it. Irwin, great interview, Damon. Kyle, pretty much plug and play. He really is. He's like the Dominic Pooney of interviews. Just put him right on in there, and it worked. Great stuff. Otis saying thank you so much. Again, it's amazing to think that he and Buster Posey are brothers. Just incredible. Incredible. What a suggestion. The Rams will be in the Super Bowl, right, Chef A? I got them losing to the Vikings. I do. But this is why they go out and play the games. I guess I can remove the headphones for the rest of the show today. Cheers, by the way. Welcome to all of you. Hit like and subscribe, my good friends, please. The sip of the day, if we're being honest, is long since passed. That was lukewarm, but still tasty coffee at best. Let's see. What else have we got here today and tonight? On your television tonight, we got Warriors and Pacers. What, no Steph tonight? No Draymond tonight? I don't think Wiggins will be back. I don't know. By the way, I got myself in a little Twitter hot water when I said, oh, Wiggins, PTO Wiggs is back. I didn't know that he was leaving for the birth of his child. I heard that he was at shoot-around. Why would he get on a plane to be at shoot-around in Detroit to then just fly back to be at birth of his child? When I heard Wiggins was out for personal reasons, I don't know what they were. I've just had it up to here with Andrew Wiggins, but boy, did that upset people. Damon is with the birth of his child. Well, okay, great. That's, of course, you go be with the birth of your own child. I get that. Can I suggest a little family planning, though, and don't have a kid during the season when you're needed to really go play basketball after the last seasons where you had to go to be at your dad's bedside and everyone's like, Damon, don't call him PTO Wiggs, his father and all this stuff. Look, it's terrible that his dad died, but guess what? That's the natural order of things. You're lucky if you're the person burying your parents. You don't want your parents burying you. The natural order of things is we all eventually lay our parents down. That's normal. There was an absurd amount of time that was needed. Him being away. I get it. We all deal with grief differently, but when it comes to Andrew Wiggins, my benefit of the doubt is gone. That's just the honesty of the whole thing. Anyways, the Warriors held on for dear freaking life in Detroit last night. So congratulations to the Warriors for doing that. They're going to be in Indianapolis this evening. We'll see how that goes. Orange Bowl, 4:30 West Coast kick. Oh, no, that was last night. Tonight we get Ohio State and Texas. What is this, the Sugar Bowl? I don't even, we had to preserve the bowl system. No, we really didn't, apparently. Because normally when one would win a Sugar Bowl, their season was then over, or an Orange Bowl means congratulations, you've done as much as can be asked. But no, you just got to keep on going. So we got that tonight, Ohio State, Texas. And all I'm going to tell you right now is watch Ohio State spit the bit. Watch Ohio State, which everybody's saying, oh, dude, Ohio State's going to roll Texas tonight. Watch Ohio State not roll Texas tonight. I don't think that's going to watch Texas win this game. That's all I'm saying. Watch Texas win this game. It is so like the Big Ten to get to a moment of greatness and then just Although, if Ohio State can seriously go ahead and win this game, well, us alumni of Indiana University can say, I know everybody bitched about our strength of schedule, wasn't where you wanted it to be. Our only 2 losses are the 2 teams meeting in the national title game. If that doesn't invite you to suck my strength of schedule's dick, I don't know what else could possibly invite you to do that. So that would be neat. But watch Ohio State screw this up. Let's see. We're going to crown a national champion on Monday, January 20th. So that'll be the night of the national championship game. Again, we got Sharks hockey tonight. I think I'm going to flip over to a little Sharks at Utah Hockey Club. Okay, Utah Hockey Club. It's kind of like Washington football team. I kind of like it. Like, it's the least creative thing humanly possible, but it kind of works. It kind of works. By the way, Smiley Dan was kind of working at the bar last night at the Dubliner. It was great to see you there, Smiley. Thank you so much for sending on a picture of you imbibing. Appreciate it. He said McConaughey is going to be all over the TV tonight for Texas. Grown a bit tired of that. Yeah, we're going to have to see Matthew McConaughey and his stupid Salesforce commercials, and we're going to have to see Matthew McConaughey walking. He's got a sideline pass at Texas that is greater than any celebrity sideline pass ever. Apparently, Matthew McConaughey is available for positional meetings. I've seen Matthew McConaughey sitting on the bench with Texas linebackers just talking to him. I mean, it's guy's got access. All right. They should be called the Utah Yetis. Utah Yetis, Crazy Juice. That, as they're considering what to do with that franchise's mascot, that's a really good one, actually. I like that. Let's see. Oh, a little house cleaning here before we get to today in history. And thanks everyone for being back for our first week back after the holidays. We did 11 o'clock shows this week. We were back to our wake up routine. So thank you very, very much. And let me just say, in terms of housekeeping, thank you to my good friends at the Last Dive Bar. By the way, this is a Last Dive Bar t-shirt. I know that they normally deal in just A's stuff, but they did this for the Giants. I love the Last Dive Bar guys. And I have 2 jars of dirt. Hold on. Because one of them I keep back here. I think I've shown you this before. In the least ceremonial presentation ever, on the night of Matt Cain's perfect game, I went into the dugout and I stole this baseball from the San Francisco Giants. I don't know if this was a game used ball or whatever, but I did take this ball was in the Giants dugout the night of Matt Cain's perfect game. And this clay is right from the mound the night of Matt Cain's perfect game on 6/13/12. And I took this paper cup from the press box, filled it up with the dirt, used a red Sharpie to write that, put that ball in there, and that is the only ceremonial dirt that I have ever had. And someone's like, that's not a jar. No, it's not a jar. It's not a ganja. There are 2 jars. The ganja jar, the JJ Raider ceremonial ganja jar, the paper cup of dirt, and here's the jar. This is dirt from the Oakland Coliseum that the guys at the Last Dive Bar are selling on their website, sent to me. And all I can tell you is that I really like it. I really like my little jar of Oakland Coliseum dirt. The guys at the Oakland Coliseum had the best grounds crew baseball ever had. The way that they converted football fields into baseball fields or vice versa over and over and over. They're incredible at their jobs. I I love my little Last Dive Bar glass jar of stadium Coliseum dirt. And I'm going to put this up here. Can you even notice it? Does it kind of blends into the background and fades away, doesn't it? I have to hide this from the boys because this could be tipped over. So that's why I bury it behind the books. I see our friend Rob C-Note was saying, geez, Damon, when you turned around like that, I thought for sure that we were going to get like the Mike Tyson butt cheeks. I wouldn't do that to you. I not this early in the day. Not without being drunk. I wouldn't do that to you. But thank you. Fassi saying, great shows today, DB. Off today, so a bottle pull and cheers to you, good sir. Oh, well, Fassi, get your bottle pull in here. So we did so many bottle pulls, my bottles are gone. I need to get a show bottle ready to go for future bottle pulls. No doubt. Future bottle pulls. Hey, Damon, maybe a clear plastic cup? I know. But yes, Zothmis, you're right. I'm letting you in on the stash spots. I get all kinds of shit hidden behind these books. And it's from the boys. I get a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old who are hunter-gatherers. They're constantly picking up shit and saying, "What can I play with this? Can I have this?" Let's see. What else have we got? What else have we got in terms of a little Friday, some stuff that I've known about throughout the week, but I haven't had a chance to tell you about? Oh, I got one other thing here from the sport of baseball, but concerning Bay Area real estate. I have an in the Bay Area realty community that is telling me that if you want to bump into Kate Upton, not that you're going to hit on her, she's a married woman, but if you want to bump into Kate Upton, she might be a lovely lady walking around Union Street, which is the most lovely ladies walking around street in all of San Francisco. Maybe she makes it down to Chestnut. We'll see. If she does, she's going to get hit on like furiously. I'm guessing Kate Upton's used to that. But I've been told that the Verlanders are looking for property in Pacific Heights. The Verlanders are going to come and really enjoy all the fruits of San Francisco while they are here. And they want that we're in San Francisco view from Pac Heights. They want Golden Gate Bridge out their living room window. They want Alcatraz out their front porch. Now, I would tell Justin Verlander and Kate Upton, if you're coming to San Francisco and you're really interested in, gotta have Golden Gate Bridge, Bay Area view, go, God bless. There's a reason why everyone pays through the nose to live up there. You guys can afford it. Go do it. But if we're talking about you're living in San Francisco and commuting to the ballpark, I would suggest the Verlanders look not in Seacliff, which, again, you can live in Pac Heights, you can live in Seacliff, or you can live in St. Francis Woods. I live in the neighborhood next to St. Francis Woods. St. Francis Woods is it's the Bel Air, the Beverly Hills, maybe, of San Francisco. And it's so easy to get to the ballpark from St. Francis Woods. All you got to do is just go straight down Monterey, you hop on 280, and Verlander, you're going to be at the ballpark in under 20 minutes. From garage to ballpark is like under 20 minutes. Where if you live in Pac Heights and you got to drive to the ballpark, that could be a good half hour to 45 minutes, depending how traffic is flowing in San Francisco city proper that day. So, I'm guessing he's got a driver and it's easier to deal with than what you and I would have to do. But I'm just telling you, take it from a local. Unless you got to have, to keep Kate happy, a view of the Golden Gate Bridge in Alcatraz, which you cannot have from St. Francis Woods. Check out St. Francis Woods. It's where the very well-heeled and rich people do like to party. Plus, you'll be very close to West Portal, which means you're close to the Dubliner, West Portal, which means you're close to hanging out with Smiley Dan. And, who doesn't want to hang out with Smiley Dan? By the way, I am going to the Halfway Club tonight. The Halfway Club, my buddy's bar on Geneva, is celebrating their 1-year anniversary. I'll tell you, when you open a bar to make it to that 1-year anniversary, you got to hold your breath to get there. I'm so happy that they've found the success that they needed and that they've made it to their 1-year anniversary. And here's to many more years to come. It is their 1-year anniversary party tonight. And after we pick up the boys, Jillian and I are bringing the boys over there. You always bring your 5-year-old and a 3-year-old to a great bar. I've always said that. Kids drink for free at the Halfway Club. So if anyone wants to bump into me, we'll be there tonight. Maybe Smiley Dan, pop on in, come over to the table, high five. And I know, Otis, appreciate it. Congratulations to the people at the Halfway Club. You've been there. I love Damon's monocle-wearing laugh. Diane Feinstein. Excuse me. Hold on. We're moving here. We're going to chase Chef A down. Diane Feinstein had her house there. I was at it once. Magnificent area. Yeah, dude. Everyone in St. Francis Woods doing really, really well. Their food is awesome, Mike. Their food is great at the Halfway Club. There we go. Smiley Dan. Of course he's down with the Halfway Club. And yeah, kids are allowed since it's a full-service restaurant. We pull them in the back, push them outside if they get too loud, but that's the way you do it. So congratulations to the Verlanders who are house hunting in the nicest locations only around San Francisco. By the way, are you ready to have your mind blown? 31 days until pitchers and catchers report. 31 days until pitchers and catchers, 76 days until opening day. It's going to come fast. It's going to get here fast. It always does. Finally, in the last Bay Area adjacent rumor mill to talk about, since we know we all love going out to really good restaurants, we also all love going to Vegas. I think we all love the Currys as well, Steph and Aisha. Have you ever eaten an International Smoke? It's okay. It's better than okay. It's officially good. But International Smoke tries to be a little too international. So instead of perfecting any one style of barbecue, they have many styles of barbecue. And I don't know if any of them are truly perfect. It's a Michael Mina, Aisha Curry restaurant. And Aisha can cook, but she's no, Michelin star chef like Michael Mina is. Anyways, I believe that there was a location in Houston that got shut down. There was a location in Las Vegas, and that has been shut down. International Smoke at the MGM Grand is closing its doors, leaving the only International Smoke here in San Francisco in the Millennium Tower. Ground floor of the slowly falling over Millennium Tower is where International Smoke is. Again, I've been there twice. It's good. It's good. It's not great, but it's good. Sporticus saying, man, pitchers and catchers reporting to camp. That's music to my ears every year. We got the postman. Oy, oy, oy! Doesn't Gary Radnich live in St. Francis Woods? Yeah, I believe he does. The only time I've ever seen Gary out in public was when he walked past me while I was having dinner one night at Spazio's, which is an Italian restaurant on West Portal. And I saw Gary walking past, and I wasn't going to get up and run out of the restaurant and leave my wife to go say, hi, Gary. But I've seen Radnich prowling West Portal, and yes, he does live in St. Francis Woods. Again, those local TV gigs used to pay the kind of money that allowed you to live in St. Francis Woods. You work in local TV here now in San Francisco. I don't even know if you got a 1-bedroom and dog patch. It ain't easy to be in media these days. Trust me. Let's see. So that's all we got. You ready for a little history today? You ready to go through a little history? It's been a small group today. It's a Friday afternoon. I think everybody's just kind of walking away from, Niners content, sports content. Everyone kind of wants to lay that Niner burden down. We've had smaller crowds this week than in the previous weeks. It's always, expected when the Niners bow out. So if you were here today, thank you so very much for being here today. Please hit like and subscribe. Need you to hit that like button more than ever before. Thank you for all the supers. Thank you for being a member. If you are a member, really appreciate it. And today in history is how we are wrapping things up. And by the way, there's some interesting stuff that has happened here in Dogpatch, or excuse me, not Dogpatch. I just read the word Dogpatch and I said it out loud. Damon, the catch happened today. Fosse, really? Is that part of it? Okay, makes sense. Time of year where those things happen. Didn't have that as part of it, but I have happy birthday to George Foreman. 76 years old today. George Foreman, our oldest heavyweight champion in heavyweight history. See, there used to be a sport called boxing, and they had a division called heavyweights that really meant something in America, and then it didn't. But happy birthday to George Foreman. Big day in our nation's history. We're going all the way back to the beginning for this one, going all the way back to 1776. Today in 1776, Thomas Paine published Common Sense. Common Sense was a 50-page pamphlet that sold more than 500,000 copies. I mean, I don't even know if there were 1 million Americans. So this pamphlet was incredibly influential. And the pamphlet that was titled Common Sense was basically a declaration of we need to go to war to get our own independence from these fuckers over in England. And it is the document that launched the ideas that launched the American Revolution. So the screenplay for the American Revolution was basically written by Thomas Paine today, and it started selling like hotcakes in 1776. That's a big document right there. Today in 1901, speaking of everything big down in Texas, the first major discovery of oil was made today around Beaumont, Texas in 1901. I only tell you that to tell you this. I've had more than 2 or 3 people tell me that the Billy Bob Thornton series that is out right now, is it called Landman, where he plays a Texas oil guy, is really good. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen you guys talking about it either. But I'm wondering, I've heard that it's good. I've heard it's really, really good. Look at True Blue playing the hits. No taxation sensation. Not without representation, baby. So there you go. Today, 2 of the biggest shows in the history of my life on television debuted on HBO. We'll go all the way back to 1983 for the very first one. Fraggle Rock's first episode was today in 1983 on HBO. I loved Fraggle Rock. My kids are watching Fraggle Rock now. Fraggle Rock is available on, I think, Apple TV or wherever it is. My kids are watching Fraggle Rock. They love it. We got Fraggles, we got Doozers, we got Gorgs, we got, Boober, Red, Moki, Wembley, Gobo. Who can forget Gobo? Uncle Traveling Matt. I've seen all of these episodes as a kid, and some of the flavor or the hallways of memory that rewatching these sort of start lighting up. It's been amazing rewatching Fraggle Rock as an adult with my kids. So I'm down with Fraggle Rock. Always have been, always will be. True Blue. Fraggle Rock. Popular with kids and stoners. Yeah. I think we checked both those boxes here in this house. Let's see what else we got going on. That other little show on HBO debuted today in 1999 called The Sopranos. First episode of The Sopranos today in 1999, and that is the show that changed television. You know, like if we talk about the shows that changed television forever, I would think right up there at the beginning of it, it's, you know, All in the Family, Archie Bunker. That was the sitcom that was way ahead of its time. And The Sopranos. It's like, it's right there in terms of you changed television forever. And if you think about it, both shows offered an anti-hero. You know, you rooted for Archie Bunker, even though the guy was a massive douche. And you rooted for Tony Soprano, even though he was, without a doubt, the bad guy. You know, we don't get The Wire. We don't get Breaking Bad. We don't get any of the interesting TV that came after The Sopranos without The Sopranos. It changed television forever. And oh, by the way, I got to leave you with this one, and I hate to leave you with something bad that happened today, but today in 2016, David Bowie died. And music hasn't been good since. I freaking love David Bowie. I want you to, when this show is over, go listen to Queen Bitch by David Bowie. It's one of my absolute favorite David Bowie songs. Or you could pull a big, you know, Fish David Bowie. But that's a totally different thing. But yeah, Queen Bitch. Go, get it done. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being a supporter of this channel, for watching, for being involved, for being in the chat. You are my kind of folks through and through. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone.